An Australian man has pleaded not guilty to murdering New Zealand tourist Warriena Wright, who fell from a 14th floor balcony on Queensland's Gold Coast in 2014. Gable Tostee's trial in the Brisbane Supreme Court started today, with more than 20 witnesses expected to testify before Justice John Byrne. While it's not in dispute that Ms Wright was in Mr Tostee's apartment and did indeed fall from his balcony, what's sharply disputed is what led to that occurring and Mr Tostee's culpability in it. ABC reporter Shani Kim is covering the trial in Brisbane. I asked her what happened on day one in court.
Well, John, Gable Tostee, who's now 30 years old, he's on trial for murdering a 26-year-old Warriena Wright, who fell to her death from his 14th floor apartment back in 2014. Now, Ms Wright was from Lower Hutt in New Zealand, and she travelled to Australia in late July of 2014 for a friend's wedding and to do a bit of sightseeing. On the 1st of August, she and Gable Tostee first made contact via the dating app Tinder, and then they actually physically met a few days later on the 7th of August and ended up at Tostee's 14th floor apartment in Surfers Paradise, which is on the Gold Coast. And so the court, the Supreme Court this morning heard that the pair drank, they became intimate, and then things started getting a bit violent, and Tostee ended up restraining Ms Wright and then locking her outside on his balcony. Now, there's actually an audio recording of all of this on Tostee's phone, and it'll be played to the jury's evidence either later today or early tomorrow. Now, this is an interesting murder case in that the prosecution has admitted from the outset that the balcony door was actually locked when Ms Wright fell, and that Tostee was inside. So he didn't throw her off, he didn't push her off, let alone touch her. The prosecution is arguing that Tostee caused Ms Wright to fall by threatening or intimidating her and essentially leaving her no other means of escape other than by trying to climb down to a lower floor. The defence case is that Tostee should be cleared of both murder and manslaughter, and that Ms Wright was violently attacking Tostee, throwing rocks at him, hitting him with a metal clamp of a telescope, and he was essentially legally entitled to use reasonable force to restrain her and lock her outside to defend himself and his property. And they say that Tostee locking his door, in fact, broke the chain of causation, and that, while Ms Wright did indeed fall to her death while trying to get away, he wasn't legally responsible for that.
So both the prosecution and the defence have opened, and boy, they are two strikingly different versions of events. Ms Wright's family was in court, friends and family there this morning?
Yes, that's right. That included Ms Wright's mother, but also Ms Wright's sister, her younger sister, Warriena Wright, who was in fact the first witness to take the stand today. She said that she had been in touch with her sister while she was in Australia, and in fact on the night that she met Mr Tostee, she'd sent her a photo of the pair during their date, saying that she'd found the Australian version of Sam Winchester. It's a character I'm not familiar with, but apparently it's a character from the TV show Supernatural. She just sort of briefly started to give evidence just before court adjourned for the lunch break. There'll be more than 20 witnesses who'll be called, including police, forensic officers and neighbours at Mr Tostee's Gold Coast apartment. And the Crown case is expected to wrap up later this week, maybe around Thursday, and then the defence, the summing up, and all of that will sort of take the trial into early next week.
It's Shani Kim, who's the ABC's reporter, sitting in on that trial. Shani will be joining us throughout the trial.